And since myself and many of you, we love gold. Here's a cool article. Coinworld.com. Not to be not to be thinking crypto coins. No. The other coin, gold and silver. Coinworld.com. Treasure wreck with cargo estimated at more than $7 billion is finally set for salvage. I remember watching this show. Another one, it was a one-hit wonder series. The guy knows where it's at. Let's dive down there. We see some stuff. We got robotic equipment. He had to stop. There's a fight. There's a lawsuit. Again, this is why. This is exactly why. If you're a treasure hunter of any shape, form, size, whatever, you don't go and do it by the book. You can't. Because as soon as you do, guess who's there to steal it from you? And if it isn't your own government trying to steal it from you, they will side with some other government and say, yeah, it's theirs. For example, all the Spanish loot, east coast of Florida, there's been lawsuits, everything. Spain has claim it's Spanish treasure. It's got their stuff. Pardon me, where were they coming from? Sailing across the coast of Florida back in the 1500s, even earlier than that. 1715 fleet's one of the big ones that crashed, broke apart. The whole fleet, I think, got wiped out. Half of them are, I think, Vero Beach and south. And the other half, I think White Dove told me, are north of that. Quite a bit north, more north than most people think. She said, but they're like covered and buried. Like, I don't think that anyone could find those. Because I'd asked her a while back. So, where were those ships coming from with this gold? Well, hold on, Joe. It was gold coins already stamped with the king's, whatever stamp of the time was or whatever. The pieces of 8, the 8 reals. It wasn't just like blank gold. Even the bars had the stamps and everything. Okay. You don't think they had the equipment with them while they were looting, plundering, and pillaging the indigenous peoples, the land, the mountains, all the way, yes, in parts of America, that wasn't America back then, further south into Mexico, below Mexico, South America. They were taking gold from them, melting it down, recasting it, cha-ching, oh yes, the King of Spain, yeah, keep going, yeah. So they stole it, and under bloody murder of a lot of these people, by the way. And we have the history to prove that. They stole it from them, recast it, reshaped it. Oh, it's ours, the king, man, the king. All hail the king. Off the coast of Florida. Oh, no, that's Spain's. Spain owns that. What about the indigenous people? Whoever's there nowadays. These are poor third world countries in South America, many of them. Don't they? If you're going to say it belongs to somebody, seems to me you got to go back to the person the farthest back you can go. And the farthest back you can go is just one hop away. One hop back from when Spain had it. Anyways. The RMS Republic sank January 24th, 1909 off the Nantucket Island coast, carrying to the floor of the Atlantic Ocean a cargo that may have included gold. A Miami, Florida treasure salvage company plans operations in 2020 to recover gold estimated today at more than $7 billion. Yeah, billion. That the firm asserts was aboard the RMS Republic when it collided with another vessel in January 24th, 1909, south of Nantucket Island, Massachusetts, and sank. I remember this show because he explained how they believe, and they have real good reason to believe, there was a hidden cargo of super wealth on that ship. And he made a real good case why he thinks it was there to begin with and is still there. Captain Martin Bayerl from Lords of Fortune, LLC, says he pinpointed the RMS Republic in shark-infested waters in 1981, but has battled in the courts with jurisdiction over the shipwreck and its cargo ever since for the sole right to salvage the treasure. Quote, after our 2016 History Channel series Billion Dollar Wreck aired, that's the one I'm telling you about. It was kind of cool. If you haven't seen it, go check it out. Go rewatch it. After that aired, research has continued. He says, we have since unequivocally confirmed one cargo, the U.S. Navy's 1909 payroll and operational expense shipment of $800,000. Today's value, because again, that would have been gold and silver. Today's value, very conservatively, he says, $200 million. Just that one cargo, according to him. And our original Russian state bank shipment has since been increased from the original 3 million that they thought, US double eagle coins, which gave our History Channel show its title $1 Billion Wreck, to now $25 million. That is 45 tons of newly minted double eagle coins packed in 625 160-pound wooden boxes, gross weight today easily $7 billion. Again, value of this. That valuation too ignores all the personal effects of her millionaire passengers left in their individual staterooms, he said. Most RMS Republic passengers were evacuated swiftly but safely to responding ships after the collision in deep fog with another ocean liner. Again, it's fine. The ship get evacuated. It'll be fine. You can get your personal belongings later. Okay. Sorry, the ship sank. Oh, there's some personal belongings on there, I'm sure. So, I love this. I remember the show. Again, 2016, I remember it. I watched it. I set to record. I love that. I just love this stuff. I love it. I don't care if it's in the water, on land. And I always told myself, not that long ago, I said, first and foremost, watching all these treasure shows and anything to do with treasure hunting for years, last 20 years of my life even. And the first one that really got me going, speaking of New Mexico, that I talk about, Doc Noss. The Treasure of Doc Noss in Victorio Peak. There is a book. It's a trilogy, 3 books. And I was told, just get the first one. That's the only one that matters. Like the rest of it's a waste. In the first book, it's called The Gold House. And I did get it. I don't remember if I bought it like online version. The Gold House book. Let me just look it up. Trilogy. Amazon. The Gold House. Yeah. It's called The Gold House. The Discovery. Book 1 of the Gold House Trilogy. Kindle edition for $9.50. Click here to read now. Which tells me I've already bought it because it's green. It says read now. That's where I saw it online. And I read it. I'm going to read you a little tidbit of this. The Gold House Trilogy, and I've heard that this, even though this may not be dead on accurate, it is, according to many people, this is the closest to ever getting the story right about Doc Noss. The Gold House Trilogy, and by the way, some of this area that I'm looking at stuff, old Doc Noss was there too. He absolutely found stuff. Amazing, huge. His Victorio Peak story, which you'll read about in this book, is pretty mind-blowing. And yes, he tried to do the right thing, create a gold claim, go to the federal government, and they effed him and stole it. Speaking of that happening, the Gold House Trilogy is the most comprehensively documented account ever published on Victorio Peak, which is off limits now, a mountain located on White Sands Missile Range in New Mexico with an astounding history. The story begins in the 1930s at a place called Hambrillo Basin, a rugged desert region where E.M. Doc Noss and his wife Ova found a vast treasure, a discovery unmatched in the Northern Hemisphere. The first book of the trilogy, The Discovery, presents events from the days after the finding of the gold hoard, worth billions at today's prices, through the murder of Doc Noss in 1949 and the eviction of Ova from the treasure site by military personnel in 1955. Ova's eviction was followed by a string of thefts by military personnel, civilians, and outright criminals. A windfall for those who helped themselves to the gold. More information may be found at victoriopeak.com. I'm going to just open that because I want to see it. I don't know if that works anymore. victoriopeak.com. In case you decide to click it. It's spinning, waiting, still waiting, still waiting. I'm going to move this over here while we wait, and I'm going to go back to reading. Sample reviews, whatever. So people talking, oh my gosh. And it says, they say America operates on the golden rule. This is someone's comment, I guess, a reviewer. Those who have the gold make the rules. Nowhere does this old bromide hold truer than in the Gold House trilogy by John Clarence and Tom Whittle. This astounding and disturbing story moves the reader from a gold strike in the 1930s through a 1949 murder and later in time into the highest levels of U.S. government and the military at White Sands. Who's that? Tell me if you ever heard of this guy's name. Jim Marrs, journalist and New York Times bestselling author. You know who that is. VictoriaPeak.com will not come up, by the way. It's just his site will not come up. I thought that was the case before, too. I saw that story. First time I ever heard about it, I was, I think, 18 years old, 17, 18. I mean, I was young. It was on, there's a really good Unsolved Mysteries episode. Maybe you can find that online. Let me just search real quick. Unsolved Mysteries. Doc Noss. There's some clips. Unsolved Mysteries, Fake Gold Mine. Mysteries. Anyways, I don't know if you could find the video online anymore. It was from the 1990s. Okay? Like late 90s. And I saw this. It was like a, you know, Unsolved Mysteries is like, was cut into like 2 or 3 or 4 episodes within one episode. You know, like first is this thing. Okay, next case, this one. This thing, I want to say, was like a multi-part series of just the Doc Noss story. So, like, the first time I saw it, whoa! Part 2 coming next week. Wow, I can't wait. You know, next part 2. Whatever it was. It blew me away. And I was so mad, how could this happen to somebody in America? You know, as a young man, not knowing anything about the government back then. And I'm like, I found out, okay, well, I did have internet at the time, you know, like 1999 or something. I'm like, okay, there they are. That's them. I can contact them. So I hit an email. My name's Joe. I just saw this whole thing on, you know, I can't believe it. Listen, I would love to come there and help. All I would ask is a place to stay. I don't need any money. I don't need anything. I would just want to help you guys in any way that I could. I don't even want anything in return, you know. And I thought, you know, later on, I'm like, well, they never replied. But I'm like, they probably have been bombarded out of control by the whole world after that thing aired. My little email probably was in a massive 1,000-pile email, thousands delete, you know. I didn't know at the time, but it really hit me hard. God, how could that happen? And but at the same time, how could something so huge be in this mountain? Why is that even there? You know. So here I am now, not too awfully far away from Victoria Peak, although that's off limits. There's mountain ranges north of there. That's some of the ones we're messing with. But Doc Noss was also in these mountain ranges that I'm in right now. Excuse me, that I talk about anyways. So, if you could find it, watch the show, but the book has all the details, like the real details. I had Psychic Desiree, do a reading. Once for sure, did I have to do it twice on this guy? And I asked one of the people, there was 2 people I wanted her to channel, basically. Could she talk, you know, connect with them? And one was Doc Noss. Milton E. Noss is his real name. And she gave me a session on that. One of my first sessions I ever asked her about treasure hunting stuff. And it was interesting. And she was telling me things that I never knew, even though I'd researched this a lot, over the years. That some of the things I only knew from reading the Gold House book that I didn't know about until recently. That my friend Joe, the movie guy, had told me about. And said, oh, dude, just get the first book. It'll lay it all out for you. Like, this is the most accurate accounting that we know about. And I found things in there I never heard of. Like, oh, I didn't even know that. Oh. So, the family isn't involved apparently anymore. They've been trying to fight the government. Like, I think it's over. They've been defeated by the government. They're just done, as far as I know. But if he found what he found in Victoria Peak, and the other guy that I had her channel, they knew each other, and they both documented, like it is documented, these guys found stuff, good stuff, Spanish treasure stuff, and I had her channel both those guys and tell me things that only I knew that there's not a chance in hell she would know. I didn't even tell her until we started the reading. Can you channel this person? Okay, what's their name? So she didn't, not like she had time to go research the guy and again find details that are not available except for that one book. You know, not a chance in hell. And she said to me, "Okay, yeah, he's here. Yeah, he's with us. What do you want to know?" And I asked some things, you know. Okay, and she's like, "This guy was the real Indiana Jones. Like, this is what he did. Like, this is all he did. Like, he didn't do anything else. Like, he went out there and that's what he did." I'm like, "Yeah, that's probably accurate." She described some things about him. "Why do I see this lady? There's like a lady with him all the time." Well, his wife did come over, came many times with him, right there on the spots they make claims and stuff, and you know, mining claims and working the sites or whatever. Again, and back then they wanted mining claims just to say this is my area, because we think something's in this mountain or this spot, not necessarily to sit there and pick at the ground. I wonder if there's some gold down here, you know. So she's like, "Oh my gosh, he's really excited for you. He's really excited for you." And I said, "Well, I know he has, you know, kin folk living today. Like, if I found something that was his, that he found or whatever, like, do I need to, do you think I ought to try to reach out to his kin, like, and give him a little piece of it or something, like a you know, part of it?" She goes, No. I'm like, "No, he doesn't want me to give his own family some stuff." She goes, "No, it's not like that." She goes, "No, it's like, wherever it came from, well, where did it come from? How'd they get it? And then they buried it in this mountain or whatever. And then somebody else found it, and let's say he finds it. Well, finders keepers. Okay, it's mine now. I'll move it. I'll move some of this out," which he moved a lot of it, even though an enormous amount was left behind. He moved the stuff out of there for 2 years straight, I believe. Where's all that stuff? He got killed, so a lot of it's still out there in his own little hiding spots. So she goes, "No, it's not about that. It's like the family connection." She goes, "It's like, it's not his." He's like, "It's not." She said, "He showed me. It's like not even his. He can't claim it's his anyways. It was somebody else's before he found it. So then he found it. And if you find it, well, why should you give it to somebody else?" And I'm thinking, wow, he's actually saying that about his own living family. Okay. She goes, "Well, I feel like at some point there's a female attached to this that I think's related to the family. And she's going to find out one day what you're doing. Like, you know, what you're doing out there. She's going to reach out to you." And she goes, in an example like that, even if you find something, that doesn't mean, oh, well, let's just give it to her. Give her a piece of it. Like, you need to have an agreement with anybody that ever comes into your life that provides you something. Like, in her case, maybe she related to the family. Okay, well, do you have any old maps that never made it out to the public? You know, can you give me some maps or something that he drew? Anything? If it'll help us find something. If she provides you with something that helps you find it, well, yeah, cut her in. And let her know up front, like, "Hey, yeah, we're willing to do that, but you got to give us something. You know, can't just say, hey, I'm related to the third person down the family tree, and I'm here just to do nothing. If you find something, give me some." You know, I'm like, "Okay, all right, I get it." And she's like, "Oh, yeah, he's happy for you. Like, he's excited. Like, he's doing it again." You're like, "Oh, yeah." She goes, "Oh, my gosh. He's going to be there with you. Whenever you guys go. He's going to be there in spirit with you. Like, cheering you on. Like, yeah, he's excited because he used to do this and no one's really doing it. You know, and here you go." I'm like, "Oh, okay, you know." And I just had her do a reading on this other site that we were given a lead on. Very recently. She just did this like yesterday, yesterday, I think, day before. And she started telling me some stuff about that site. And I ended up testing her at the end with a grid on the side of this mountain. And I already knew where, like, a mine shaft or somebody was working a big hole, you know. They'd had mining permits back in the day. They're dead now. 15 plus years ago they died. Older man. And the person that gave me the information about this whole site says, "Oh, this guy, so-and-so, he had a mining claim over there. He was digging down there. We met him one time, and by the campfire, we made camp, and blah, blah, blah." And he didn't know our story, but he was looking for something there, too. He was, you know, in the same area we were looking. He goes, "But, yeah, he's passed on, blah, blah, blah." So I said, "Do you know where his camp was, or his where he was digging, or wherever this mine he was working?" He goes, "No, but I'll send you a Google Earth map of where I think it might be." And I thought, okay. So he did. But when I flew my drone over there, when we were there back in November, I just, "Oh, look at that, there's a hole. Oh, look, there's man-made stuff. Oh, there's like little tool things and metal poles. Oh, there's an old-ass chair, you know, Rusty over there. Oh, that's his site. That's that one dude's site. It was not in the location that the other guy gave me because he never found it. Not that site matters because there's nothing in there. It's open. If you find it, you can walk right in. And it's not a story of anything valuable. Obviously, the guy would have gotten it out. Been working it before he died. But I knew where that was on the gridded map. So at the very end, and I felt bad. It's like, man, I shouldn't have done. I don't want to test these psychic people out that I know because I already know they're the real deal. But something inside was just like, just ask about the mining site. This guy's old mine site that died. Can she say any of these grids, which numbers she thinks it is? Or whatever it's closest to if it's not quite on the screen. So I ask her. And she's like, well, first thing I see is blah, blah, these two numbers. And I'll just make two up. 13 and 14. You know, and it goes from left to right. So 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, down the line. 21, 22, 23, you know. So the number she gave me, she's like 13, 14. I get that right away. She goes, as soon as you ask, that's what I got. 13, 14. That area right there. Well, the number below 14, one block below, was, and honestly, it's kind of a toss-up where it's kind of borderline almost going up to 14. But that bottom block, which, you know, going down was probably like, you know, 23 or whatever it was right. That's actually where the opening was. You can't see it from the image. It's too high up in Google Earth view. That was where the opening was, and it goes, if you're looking down the map, just like I sent it to her, up into 14 is the direction that it goes, right there. So it was almost into 14 where it started. Not quite, but it was like, so she pretty much put me right there without knowing. And I this is the only part that I know with absolute certainty because I saw it with my drone. Where I'm asking, should we look here, find this thing we're looking for over in that area? She's guiding me. Yeah, I think you should look this way. You know, these areas. Okay. So if she's telling me that, and I tested her at the very end. She may get mad at me later on. I doubt it. She doesn't care. She's gonna probably laugh and chuckle about it. Something was in. It was not me. It was something inside saying, just do this test. So I did, and she pretty much nailed the damn thing. I had her look at one thing a long time ago, and Sharon Michelle, similar gridded, and I've never been back there after this because it's a tough spot to get to, and it's not our main thing, and like it's just. Put it in the back burner for another day, another one of these treasure hunts later on, you know. And she picked, like, again, 12 and 13. She picked 13, let's just say. Sharon Michelle's like, I think it's 12. Neither of them knowing which one they got the same map. Can you tell me, is there like is there treasure in here? If they're still there, can we like get in through any of these squares, you know, these grids? Sharon Michelle's like, oh, 13, I think that's how you get in. She was one to the right, so like 14. On a map, by the way, both these ones I'm telling you about, I had 104 squares on this image. 104. One at the top, last one, 104. And out of this whole thing, they're picking, and it wasn't 13 or 14, it was more in the center, like, 44 and 45. Right back to back. One psychic says there, the other one says right here. How is that even possible? Right? Odds of that. That's why I think they're helping me, and I'm going to find something. And when old Snip does, listen, I love all y'all. I do. I love you. My Patreons are going to get hooked up. And if you're not a Patreon when it happens, I'm not making an announcement. Hey, because I'm such a nice guy. Guys, go join my Patreon real quick. So I can basically pay you multiple times what you've given me. Which is 1 month's, payment. Let me give you multiples for being a jabroni and coming at the last minute. Not happening. So I'm pulling a Nancy Pelosi on you. Pulling a Nancy Pelosi. You have to wait to see what Snip finds before you can see what's in there. Healthcare style. Anyways. Going back in March with my daughter. And then going with the boys in April. End of April. Right in between the time that we're doing the little vacation getaway thing we're going to attempt to do last week of April. And then the next week after that, we're going to do our own thing. So, anyways, I just love these stories. It's fascinating. I hope to God that I really, again, I think universe, God is pushing me. The signs are so unbelievable. It's just stupid. Like, I feel like I'm going to hit in the head with a baseball bat if I keep asking for signs, like, and they keep giving them. Like, come on. Joe, we got other stuff to do than to give you a sign. For the 1500th time, you're on the right spot. Like, all right, thanks. Oh, and here's a lead. Here's a lead that one of your psychic friends told you something about an eagle. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, really? Oh, and ask her about the site. Joe, I feel like... Joe, Desiree says, yesterday, whatever, I think, gosh, I feel like this is really easy. If you find this one, it's just go in and get it. Like, all the work you do at the other place, like, that's tough. Like, this might be the easiest one you've talked to me about. And I thought, well, the story is that, yeah, if I could find this thing and move it, the opening's right there. So she helped me a little bit with that. But anyway, just want to share this little treasure hunting story. I love it. Gets me excited to go back to do my own thing. You know, it's awesome. And the history that's going to potentially come out of this. What if there's documents, artifacts, things that I discover one of these days that freaking changes humanity's history? Oh my God, look what I found. Like, can you imagine? Oh, I'm not going to make any announcement. I'm going to go straight to the government, tell them and give them what I found, and have the Smithsonian come over and take over the site and then say they didn't find anything. Yeah, that's what I'll do. No, I would keep it safe. I'd take pictures. I'd have video. I'd have multiple copies spread out, and then say, ba-boom, look at this stuff. Isn't this interesting? Look what was found. Oh, a friend of mine found this, you know. Look what he showed me. And, well, typically my friends are there anyways. I wouldn't be lying. But I have no idea if we're going to find stuff like that. I think we will at some point. Again, I think universe is like, the time is now. We're going to help you a little bit. So, take care.